Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for dropping by this channel. A warm welcome to anyone who is new, and a warm welcome back to any return viewers. So this channel is dedicated to helping people understand the difference between actual non-duality and fake non-duality, also known as Neo-Advaita, and to help them recover from Neo-Advaita. So before I hop into the topic, I'd like to talk about the picture that's at the front of this video. And you can't see it so well, but it's two people having a conversation. And then from this conversation is this amazing work of art that's arisen. And then above that, it says, find someone that will introduce you to new music, art, culture, ideas, books, etc. Someone who will expand your mind and help you grow. It's my wish to be that for everyone in my life, and specifically to be that for people who've gotten their ass kicked by Neo-Advaita, not just gotten their soul kicked by Neo-Advaita. So thank you for giving me the chance to do that. So this is in response to a letter that touched me very deeply. I'm going to read that letter and I'm going to respond to it. Hi, I'm blank. I'm leaving out their name. I wandered into Neo-Advaita and non-dual spirituality, or whatever the hell, very well said, whatever the hell, after I began struggling with the idea of hard determinism and the free will debate. Hard determinism, it really floored me as a person. I had to start reformulating my worldview and what I even was as a human being, as I seemed equally as likely to be a complete puppet as I was the entirety of everything. From there on, I have been in a very intense internal conflict. Neo-Advaita came along and frankly wrecked things even further. I became very embroiled in Neo-Advaita for a few months, weeks in 2022, and eventually managed to detach myself somewhat. Only after I became likely manic and wrecked some relationships. Fast forward to now, as of the past month or so, I became more and more embroiled in what I now believe is probably Neo-Advaita, just a much subtler and apparently logical version, which I have begun the process of detaching myself from yet again. It feels bittersweet this time, as it did the last time too, as I know damn well I'm going to have to go straight back to spirituality and philosophy, because I've been compelled to contemplate this sort of stuff my entire life, meaning back into the tumbler dryer of pain and uncertainty. Anyway, that's been frankly a very gross oversimplification of my situation. But to be fair, I barely understand what I'm going through myself. I haven't felt like a functioning person in almost a year now since I encountered hard determinism and subsequently Neo-Advaita. And it's really hard. I feel like I have almost no future at this point. Now I'm here because I'd really like some sort of mentoring support in whatever it is you do. Thank you so much for this letter. So I'll go through and address some of the points, but first and foremost, I'm just very touched. My authentic response is like, you seem like an earnest person. Like you just call things as they are. And, just some of your languaging is very, a little bit humorous, yet also very self-aware and just kind of like, here's how it is. And my opinion, and is that quality, because of that quality, there is hope for you. Anyone who has that earnestness, that willingness to be honest to the best of their ability and to be honest about themselves, that's huge. So I get the whole hopelessness thing. I felt that for a long time, and I occasionally still do feel it. And my view is that there are many things that are truly a saving grace, and that capacity to be honest about yourself and with another person, it's a superpower. So I hear the hopelessness, and I'm not trying to talk you out of it. And I have hope for you. And so that's my first response. And I get the hopelessness. Oh my God. And just feeling broken beyond repair. Those are my words, not yours. But so I really also relate to the exiting Neo-Advaita and then finding myself in a more subtle form. And not just Neo-Advaita, but different types of spiritual bypass. So it sounds like you got out of a pretty crazy form of Neo-Advaita and found yourself in a less crazy form. And now you're... And so... once again, I salute you. You know, many people stay stuck for years or decades, or even multiple decades. So I know you're, from this letter, it sounds like you're not feeling well. And it sounds to me like you have a bullshit detector. And it didn't detect it initially, but it did detect it. And I know it sounds like deep damage has been done. I'm not denying that. You know, the escaping and then falling back in, I think it's very common. It's very common in addictions. In the addiction world, they call it switching addictions, where you just pick up a less harmful addiction. You know, like the classic one is alcoholics will stop drinking, but they'll start overeating. Definitely less harmful than alcohol, but still harmful. And so I think it's very common in the Neo-Advaita recovery scene to find less harmful spiritual paths that are still have spiritual bypass or Neo-Advaita in them. I know it's frustrating and painful and heart-wrenching, and I can relate to that. Ay caramba, free will and determinism. So I'm just going to acknowledge that, you know, so there's different flavors of Neo-Advaita, and the one that you're up against, it seems like the one that you really bumped into was, well, it sounds like you came across, there are some forms of Neo-Advaita that are like hardcore into determinism. The ones that I personally got stuck in didn't, but I hear about it from other people, and it's quite a mind fuck. It's quite a mind fuck. So a couple things I have to say to that. First and foremost, yes, Ramana Maharshi and other non-dual sages make statements that can be interpreted as like everything's determined. And so that's what a Neo-Advaita teacher will tell you. Here's what they won't tell you, is that they also spoke about free will and the importance of free will and the importance of exercising free will. See, Neo-Advaita teachers are cherry pickers because they're not enlightened, right? So what they do is they go and read the books and they like leave out the parts they don't like and then pick a few sentences that they don't actually understand, and it becomes a belief system, and then they try and get other people to believe their belief system. It really is like a conversionary religion or a conversionary cult. People trying to get a Neo-Advaita teacher, trying to get people to believe what they believe because they don't actually know it. So here are a few quotes from Ramana Maharshi that Neo-Advaita teachers would hate. And these are direct quotes. I'm reading right from a book of Ramana Maharshi. Free will exists together with individuality. As long as the individuality lasts, so long there will be free will. So then a Neo-Advaita teacher will then take that and be like, okay, well, the individuality is not true, so there's no free will. Well, that's not what Ramana Maharshi said. And that's what Neo-Advaita teachers do, is they'll use his words and then twist them to give a new meaning, a completely different meaning. Here's a continuation of that quote. All the scriptures are based on this fact and advise directing the free will in the right channels. That's what Neo-Advaita teachers do not do. They don't know how to get people to direct their free will properly. Neo-Advaita teaching is based on free will. They're like, just inquire, or just come to satsang, or think about these things. So they really do believe in free will. They just don't want to admit it. But they don't know, they teach people improper use of free will. So I'll continue. Free will is implied in the spiritual injunctions to be good. It implies overcoming fate. It is done by wisdom. Wisdom is acquired by association with the wise. I feel like there was one more I wanted to read. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah. So there are just a few quotes. And Ramana Maharshi said, you must make effort until it's impossible to make effort. So yes, at a certain point, the sages talk about a surrender and where you're just carried along. But until that point, Ramana Maharshi said you must make effort, which doesn't just imply, it's an instruction. Make effort. Do shit. And but what do Neo-Advaita teachers do? They always skip. They always skip to the end because they haven't actually attained it and they don't know how to lead someone there skillfully. Because again, it's all just a belief system that they're trying to pass along. So basically what you have is you have people doing psychotherapeutic coaching who have no skill, no qualification, and aren't actually living what they're teaching. They don't practice what they preach. Not a one of them. I mean, maybe a little bit here and there. So, and the reason why I'm saying all this is because at a certain point, I just had to be like, everything I was taught by these people was wrong. I had to make that decision within myself and then spend some time unpacking it all and learning a little bit of actual non-duality. These people are not qualified to be talking about free will. They're literally not qualified. They're just like a doctor. They're just like someone playing doctor, but dispensing actual medicine who doesn't have the training to dispense medicine. Paul, hi, hello. So my hope for this person and for anyone is that they find an actual teacher who can actually answer these questions. These questions are subtle. And the other thing is, these topics are actually dangerous. I don't mean that to scare anyone, but non-dual teachings are actually dangerous if not handled well. It takes a very skilled teacher. So my hope is that each one of us can find a wise mentor who can address these issues. And I am I'm not a non-dual teacher. I have association with an actual non-dual guru, like an actual Swami, who answers my questions, um, and I have his blessing to do this work, but I don't have his blessing. I haven't asked for it, and he hasn't given it to be a non-dual teacher because I'm not enlightened. Just to go back to my doctor metaphor, these fuckers shouldn't be teaching. And the fact that they are is truly a spiritual crime. And I say that to encourage people to sit with the possibility that everything they've been taught by these people is wrong. So, but you found this person found hard determinism, free will before Neo-Advaita. So, that's. I can't solve that debate for you. All I can do is share you a little bit what Ramana said, who I look to for guidance. Point out that Neo-Advaita is nonsense, and encourage you. I also want to encourage people to not try and figure this stuff out on their own, and to seek out a qualified guide. So let's see what else I'd like to respond to. So you wrote, I know damn well I'm going to have to go straight back into spirituality and philosophy because I've been compelled to contemplate this sort of stuff my entire life. So as I read that, my authentic response to that is, I've created it's a work in progress, but I've created a map of how to recover from Neo-Advaita. You can find on my website, Neo-Advaita 101. You scroll down and it says, how to recover, how to recovery. Has a typo. How to recovery from Neo-Advaita. How to recover from Neo-Advaita. And so you can take a look at it and see if it resonates with you. But part of recovery is stopping. And I would say stopping to contemplate, trying to figure out whether there's free will or not. It's very hard. For me, it was trying to figure out whether the world existed or not. That was the kind of Neo-Advaita I was into, was all about the world isn't real. And some other philosophical points. And I finally just had to stop thinking about them and trying to figure them out and ask myself, okay, what do I need? And put my attention there. And it's not easy, and I still struggle with it. So yes, those of us who have gone far down the hole, we're going to be philosophers our whole life. Probably. But the question is, what kind of philosophers are we going to be? We do have some free will there. So I believe, I'm convinced. Haven't felt like a functioning person in probably almost a year. You're not alone there. Neo-Advaita and other such philosophies can really do that to a person. So once again, towards the end of this letter, you say, I feel like I have almost no future at this point. You're not the only one to feel that way. And as quickly as I can, I'm working on creating support groups. And then I have a friend, Jessica, over at the Glorious Both And, who's also working on creating support groups. So the moment one of us or both of us are ready, you'll hear. So thank you so very much for this very, very beautiful letter. Resonate deeply. Hi to the live viewers. You caught me at the tail end. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time. For everyone who watched this. Oh, Paul K. wrote, thank you for your presence and positivity. You are awesome. Thank you, Paul. I have moments of awesomeness. I have moments of the opposite of awesomeness. And I really appreciate that. Take care, beautiful souls. Catch you soon.